Bonsoir tout le monde and welcome back to Season 3 of the iRacing UK Formula 3 League. We at Total Sim Sport are proud to present you with this race replay, which is brought to you via iRacing, the world's premier motorsport simulator. And what better way to spend your evening here than with us in the Belgian forest for a truly supreme circuit that it has its place, obviously, in history and also all of our hearts. The Formula One here was a bit of a washout this year, but I can promise you a lot more than that here in this race as we strap in for round 8 of this thrilling season in the open wheelers. With me this evening is Seb Bosher Williams. And Seb, you are becoming part of the furniture here in the commentary box with us on the what would normally be a Tuesday night. We're recording this on a Wednesday. What is it that keeps you coming back for more every week?
Good evening, Nick. Quite simply, the quality of racing. I have been absolutely loving watching these drivers extract the most out of these Dallara F3 cars, and I cannot wait to see them do exactly that in today's race. As we saw in Donington, there's high drama both up and down the grid, which makes the racing even better to watch. So I really hope that today's race will give us another Donington-esque race because I would certainly enjoy that.
Okie dokie. Yeah, that Donington was fantastic, and we do have some comments about that. We'll get onto that maybe a little bit later on in the broadcast. But right now, we're going to read you the grid for this evening. So the qualifying has been and gone, and on the top step, we've currently got Jerome Lamy in first, followed by Sam Hermer joining him on the first row, and then the second row is made up of Gavin Petty and Lee Aberdeen. Then we've got Gregoire Gomez, Alistair Hay, Stuart Milne, Chris Robinson, and Josh Wilson there in P9, followed by James Cockram, who rounds out the top 10. Then following on from them, we've got Ryan Annals and Chris Foskett there in P12, Dare Flock in 13th, Alex Hopkins 14th, Duncan Roberts and Patrick Rowlands in 15th and 16th. Then following them, Sam Congreve, Jack Ralph, James Parfitt, Craig Walters, Mark Hudson, Edmund Webb, Duncan Watts, and Roxy Gibson there in 24th. Following on from Roxy, we've got Fraser Garrity, Colin Nicol, Nathan Willoughby, Tyler Oldham, and then Mark Murphy there finally in 29th. So a relatively decent sized grid here this evening. We've got all the drivers getting ready now to grid up and get themselves on the tarmac ready to go. 20 seconds tops before we get underway. If you're interested in being part of this, head over to www.facebook.com/iRacingUK and hit us up over there to get involved in one of these leagues. We'll talk about another league that we've got coming up a little bit later for you. So with the remaining cars now just joining the grid, we wait and away we go for the Formula 3 League. And here we are now going into La Source. Jerome Lamy's got a great start by the looks of it. Jerome having a fantastic flyer there. He's got a great gap between him and the cars behind. Oh, we've got a few spinners there in the middle of the pack. Everyone's having to dive left and right at the exit of La Source. Oh, T-boned at La Source. That is unfortunate for all the drivers that got involved there. We didn't get to see on the timing tower who was dropping down. We got it out the way so that you had full view of the action. But it was Dare Flock, Colin Walters, and I think Nicol was also involved in that as well. So as we now have the run down this long straight into Bruxelles, Lecombe, Jerome Lamy maintains that lead. We've got another spinner there into Bruxelles. That's a couple of cars off. Alistair Hay drops down the order, as does Josh Wilson. They've had an incredible contact there together into that first part of the track. And Sam Herman now in P2 goes incredibly wide at Bruxelles. That is very, very difficult for him. He's going to be dropping down the order there and losing time to all his competitors. Jerome Lamy, in the meantime, laughing out in front. He's just diving away 9/10 of a second, the gap between him and Gavin Petty at the moment. Gavin, oh, incredibly wide there at Phil for Sam Herman. That's him now dropped down all the way to 5th position for car number 7, and that is absolutely not what we want to see on on this race here this evening at Spa. So as we come now round the latter half of the first lap, we've lost a few cars. I think Chris Foskett I've also just seen dropping down the timing tower, possibly in 20th place or beyond that. Actually, now you think he's even dropped below James Cockram, who we saw in the incident earlier. So this has been an action-packed first lap so far. And Ryan Annals here, we're going to go over to, who is currently up 3 positions. He is going to be under pressure from Duncan Roberts behind. 2/10 separate these guys as they go into the bus stop now. And it's been an intense first lap. And as we come into the closing stages here, we've got people at the front of the order that are pushing their luck. There's Lee Aberdeen really giving Gavin Petty the challenge here with less than a tenth separating them as they go into La Source almost side by side. Lee looks for the inside line there in La Source and he just can't quite make the move happen. That is probably going to harm his traction, but no, he's managed to get side by side here. He's actually managed to get around Gavin Petty, and as they go for the run up the hill here into Eau Rouge, I think he's just about going to be able to get it done. He is. That's fantastic work from Lee Aberdeen, and to see him get around there, it's not over yet because Gavin Petty's got the slipstream. He fancies his chances here on the long run down now into Les Combes, into the end of this first sector of the circuit. But not only that, we've also got car number 7 behind them, Sam Hermer, also looking to try and make his way around. On this occasion, Gavin Petty just not able to make the move here happen, and that is some brilliant racing at the top of the field. All of this time, Jerome Lamy is creeping ahead with a 2.5 second gap to these guys as he goes down the inside. That's Sam Hermer down the inside. Car number 7, brilliant work there as they then go round No Name. That was fantastic work from Sam Hermer, making his way back up after dropping a couple of places in that first lap. Wow, Seb, this has been incredible so far, and there's so much happening here at Spa this evening. As we see another move here, James Parfitt. I was about to hand over to you and ask you for your favourite bits so far, Seb, but every time I tried, there's something else going on our screens.
There certainly is, and we have a look at James Parfitt, who in the background of lap 1 actually spun coming through Pouhon on cold tyres. One of the many victims of the turn 1. I think the only word I could use is carnage. It was chaos out there. I've been told at least 6 drivers were involved in some form of first lap incident, as there's some even more action on the track at the moment.
That absolutely is. So Gavin Petty here really trying to mount the challenge. So car number 33 has got Gregoire Gomez behind that he's going to have to defend against. He was trying very desperately to get himself back around Sam Hermer, who overtook him just a moment ago. But Gregoire Gomez, who was actually on his debut race with us last week in Donington, back in 5th position and really looking to challenge for those potential podium spots that await him. So as we go into La Source here, nice and tidy from Gavin Petty, but Gregoire Gomez still maintaining a 3/10 gap. And as they come for the run up the hill into Radion and Eau Rouge, there's every chance that he's going to have an overtake in the slipstream here on the run up to Les Combes.
Oh, undoubtedly, as you just see how influential the draft is as he gets behind Gavin Petty. Of course, Gavin Petty, last week's race winner. He was, of course, having that battle with Sam Hermer, who I'm sure was quite pleased to get past Gavin Petty in this race, as Gregoire Gomez just goes around the outside. A very nice move on there. Actually, sorry.
No, Gregoire, no, he just he let that one go on this occasion. He thought to himself, no, there's plenty of race left. 10 laps to go. We're 3 out of 13 so far. And Gavin Petty actually just maintaining his line ahead, showing he did give him a bit of room, but I think Gregoire on this occasion just saying no, plenty of time left. We'll pick our moment later on in the race. But speaking of the race, we've got Ryan Annals here, who's up 2 positions so far, but he's got Duncan Roberts on one side of him, and he's also got Alex Hopkins on the other. Alex, I believe, has just got around him at the moment. So Duncan Roberts, the next car that's going to be looking to mount the challenge here on Ryan Annals. As he goes to the rear wing view of that car of Ryan, and a little bit less tight on the line. Duncan Roberts appearing to have a bit of a better kind of line through the corners there in the final sector of the circuit. I would say that Ryan Annals here is going to have a lot of defending to do as we now go into the long run down towards Blanchimont. This is a very high slipstream zone and absolutely a point where we can see overtakes. And here we go, Sam Congreve, another recent addition to the Formula 3 League, round the outside of Blanchimont on Alex Hopkins. And what can he do here? Oh, side-to-side action as we go into the bus stop chicane. He's got the inside line, car number 20 there. Looks like he's got the move done. And Duncan Roberts also trying very hard to make his way around Ryan Annals, but I don't think he's quite been able to do it. Let's see what's happening here. Jack Ralph also up a couple of positions, tucks it in up the the inside, and that's a lovely little bit of manoeuvring from Jack Ralph. He's in P16 and driving fantastically well, but he's got company behind. Let's have a little look at what's going on. Car number 10 looks around the outside here and isn't quite in the position to make a manoeuvre here, but the slipstream will absolutely play dividends here as we go back down the straight to go heading up the hill through Eau Rouge Raidillon.
Well, indeed, as we look at this battle, and what I thought was interesting is that Duncan Watts has gone from attacking Jack Ralph ahead to now having to defend from Tyler. This is a perfect opportunity for Duncan just to escape as quickly as he can up the grid and leave these two drivers behind, as we see even
Tyler
more
Oldham's,
action.
he's got around the outside here by the looks of it. No under braking there. The inside line being defended hard, but Tyler's made it happen on the second part of this kind of windy chicane section here in Sector 1. He's made it happen. That was fantastic work. And now we're going to go over to the battle for second place with Hermer and Aberdeen, who we've been watching earlier on in this lap. Hermer's made it past again since that earlier mishap that we saw him have, and that means Lee Aberdeen is now down in third position, 2 tenths behind our P2 driver, and Jerome Lamy dancing away 4 seconds ahead in the distance at the moment. We'll stick with Sam Hermer here and Lee Aberdeen. This is a fantastic little fight here between two drivers who we've seen go head to head in a number of the rounds so far in the Formula 3 League. Lee Aberdeen, incredibly strong. We've seen the pace that Lee Aberdeen's got, but he's been included in a number of mishaps throughout this league, whether it be his own or not. But we've got Gomez about to possibly make a move on Petty behind this. So Gomez, who we've been following earlier in the lap, on the run up to the bus stop chicane, is he able to make it happen under braking? He's got the slipstream advantage, but it's just not enough at this point in the race. He's not got the confidence. He doesn't want to make that dive. Yeah, and ultimately, Seb, I think that's a sensible decision because, with, again, another 8 laps of action, the last thing you want is damage now and having to head it into the pits. And as we have a little look now here at Jerome Lamy in the lead.
Of course, you are completely right. The worst thing you can do at the moment is to be involved in a little bit of a silly accident, get some damage. I mean, best case scenario, you get some damage and you're slower per lap. And around Spa, it's critical to have as much straight line speed as possible. As we see even more action now as Lee Aberdeen gets past Sam Hermer.
He has done it at the hill. That is fantastic work from Lee Aberdeen, but we absolutely know that we can play leapfrog here all night at Spa with these long straights. So Sam Hermer manages to keep it tucked in very nicely there, but as we look further back down the order, here's Sam Congreve and Alex Hopkins swapping places. We'll just keep an eye here on the straight because we've got battles happening side by side here all the way down the order. James Parfitt there, who's currently up 6 positions, and then Nathan Willoughby, who's up 9. Again, round the inside here. That's a brilliant move there from Willoughby on Duncan Watts, and he's made his way up another position. As we look a little bit further back, we've got Ryan Owls here in 9th position. This is the battle for 9th and 10th that you're seeing on your screens. Duncan Roberts behind him in kart number 82. This is some brilliant stuff that we've got here tonight in the Formula 3 League here at Spa. We've had battles for the entire first quarter of sort of the third, I guess, of the race so far. As Duncan Roberts tries to squeeze his way up the inside, he's got much better exit lines here, I think, than the car ahead here of Ryan Annals, and he's really showing what he's made of, Duncan. The delicate kind of manoeuvres on the wheel there that see him through these corners in a smoother fashion than Ryan ahead. It's just making the difference. And as we go down for the run now into Blanchimont, following on them into the bus stop chicane, I reckon we've got to see it side by side here into Blanchimont. Who's going to be brave here? Is Duncan fancying a move? He's going to stay nice and tight in behind him on the run up. He's going to go to the outside if he can. This might serve him quite well. He's pushing hard. Will we force an error from Ryan? No, he's given him plenty of room. But that does mean that not James Parfitt. That does mean that Edmund Webb behind has managed to catch up to the back of Duncan Roberts and could be able to make a charge as we come up the hill into Eau Rouge.
There's
contact. That's Joe's Parfitt. Oh, and we've got somebody else that got involved. That was that Roxy possibly that I just saw got hit as well. No, Marcus Hudson got hit. Sorry, and Patrick Rowland. So James Parfitt there taking a bit of a shunt, and it does look like his speed up the hill is very much compromised here. He's losing places all over the shop. So James Parfitt, after what looked like a very promising start, now absolutely no pace there in that Dallara F3. That was a bit of a spectacle to behold, Seb.
That was, I think, we'll have to have another look to agree with it to see what happened. But I think that it might have just been James Parfitt's fault there. But unfortunately, due to some technical limitations, we are unable to have replay. So as commentators, we'll stay impartial. But what I do want to point out very quickly is that Sam Hermer, who was once in second, has now dropped down to fourth. So we haven't seen the battle between him, but I think something's happened with him at the moment. But he's Carl looks good, so he's only 3/10 behind Sam. So, sorry, Gavin Petty. So he'll be eager to get those positions back. But he's still got 7 laps to do to make up those positions. So all to play for still for Sam Hermer.
Absolutely. Well, we could have had a slowdown. There is obviously off tracks here that result in slowdowns at Spa. It's known of, well, at least it used to be known for being quite harsh for the off tracks here at Spa-Francorchamps. But Sam Herman, as we just said, we know he's a quick driver, and as you can see here, he's really mounting the challenge on Gavin Petty again as we head down into the bus stop chicane. Car number 7, right up on the rear wing there. Oh, and he's spun it again. Sam Herman is absolutely out of luck. And who's that? Stuart Milne that's gotten involved as well. So that is absolutely destroyed Stuart Milne's race, because that front wing is now missing from the car of Stuart Milne, meaning his downforce is going to be all over the place. The car will be incredibly challenging to handle, and I'm sure the speed itself will also be compromised in that car. So that's a shame. Sam Congreve now making his way through. He's followed by Ryan Annals. A big fight that is about to ensue as we head now up the hill into Eau Rouge and Raidillon here. So car number 12 chasing very hard behind Sam Congreve. Sam's up 11 places so far, so it's really brilliant to see. Oh, sorry, it's actually, I think it's Sam, is this Sam actually and Alex Hopkins that we're seeing? So Alex Hopkins is also up 9 positions. So car number 20 on the outside. He's going to lose this position by the looks of it. Yep, Sam Congreve makes his way through into 5th. That's brilliant stuff from another one of our very newcomers to the Formula 3 League. Sam Congreve, brilliant manoeuvring as we head into the second half of this race here at Spa this evening. So I think, to be honest, Seb, this has been the first half of this has been action-packed, wall-to-wall, overtakes and every corner so far, pretty much. You know, we've seen all these straights used a number of times, battles going on from front to back of the grid. I don't know what else to expect this evening at Spa. I mean, the front runner at the minute, Jerome Lamy, he's 5 seconds ahead, so this is looking like a dead cert for Jerome.
I think you would be silly to bet against Jerome at the moment with, you're right, that incredible 5.5 second lead in. As we saw Sam Hermer, unfortunately, getting it all wrong at the bus stop. So easy to do in these Dallara cars, no ABS, and very easy to lock the front wheels, which leads to locking the rears. And I'm afraid you're going to be looking at your opponents rather than looking ahead. But there are battles everywhere as we see drivers weaving left and right on the back straight. Can he make a move around the outside of Blanchimont? We've already seen one today, but we see another one. Not yet, but no, I still can't get over that move around the outside of Blanchimont. I mean, that was Max Verstappen-esque. It was simply stunning.
It's definitely a brave move. Like, if you've ever tried it in iRacing, whether it be fooling around in a private session with some friends or in an official race, it's certainly a hair raiser. When you get the opportunity, the speed and the ambition, should we say, to try and make that kind of maneuver, it's definitely one for the brave. Now, Sam Congreve is up 12 places now. That's brilliant stuff from Sam. Again, as we said, a newcomer to the iRacing UK Formula 3 League, and at the moment really showing what he's made of. Alex Hopkins not able to match the pace. The only thing that I think is really helping Alex at the minute is that draft that is going to allow him to gain a couple of tenths here and there, but he's not using it, is he though? He's ducking out to the right hand side of Sam and then tucks back in, and he probably could have taken advantage of that a lot more. We're going to go back to the Ralph and Hudson fight here. Roberts is in the background of this, also looking to potentially capitalise. But this is another one of these very close midfield battles that we've got going on. which really make this league entertaining. So as we see now, car number 93, they're trying to defend the inside. That's Jack Ralph in P9 as we head down into Bruxelles, and then the left-hander of No Name. This is a great corner if you get it right. If you get it all really hooked up nicely, and the exit speed is fantastic, which then means a run down into Fuon is a lot less scary. You're not under as much pressure from an overtake if you get that exit brilliantly there. But look at how close they are here. The battle for 9th and 10th between Hudson and Ralph is really starting to heat up, almost side by side. And I think that Roberts is also going to fancy his chances here. They're absolutely nose to tail now, and I don't know who is going to come out on top, because all it takes is a tiny bit of contact for this to go absolutely upside down. So Jack Ralph still in 9th position. That car at the minute 9 positions up. He doesn't want to lose those, so playing it safe might be in his interest. If Marcus Hudson tries a really ambitious dive, just let him pass, but I don't think that's going to happen here. As we go into Blanchimont, they're still nose to tail. Nobody's brave enough for a move around the outside, but as we head now into the bus stop chicane, let's see who really is the brave driver here out of us all. Leaving a little bit of room there is Jack Ralph, because he did feel like Marcus Hudson might have tried to dive up there, but nonetheless, everybody has made it through. And Edmund Webb there, a spinner in the background of your screens. That means all of these guys are going to move up another position, I do believe. And Marcus Hudson now in 9th. That puts him up 12 positions. And he's got another opportunity here to try that manoeuvre on Jack Ralph as we head up the hill again past the old pit lane. But we'll have a quick look at Congreve, because that fight with Alex Hopkins is still very much underway. Alex making his way ahead again, just managed to tuck it in ahead of Congreve. To be honest, it's in their interests to just keep trading places sensibly for the time being. Jack Ralph still leads this party here in 8th position. Marcus Hudson now drops down the order, and Duncan Roberts tucks his way in on the inside of Lecombe. Brilliant little manoeuvre. And I'm sure we'll see a little bit more place swapping between these three as the final few laps come around.
They do. I think Duncan Roberts must be thinking that all of his Christmases came at once there. You know, with the two drivers fighting up ahead, it just gave him the perfect opportunity to leapfrog at least one driver at the moment. But I'm sure that he will be eager to get past Jack Ralph in 8th place as we have a look at our race leader, which we haven't really seen a lot today, have we, Nick? He's been kind of a bit lonely out there with his 5.7 second gap lead now, which is just such an incredible lead in such a short amount of time, only 9 laps here, which is about 18 minutes of racing. Such an incredible feat as he goes through the bus stop, and you can just see how much command he has under braking, and how good that car looks with its turn as he heads down. Oh, there's a spinner in the background as well. I think that was the lapped car, so even more drama at the bus stop chicane, Nick.
Yeah, as you say, Jerome very much unbothered by anybody behind him, and that gap now up to 6.2. Jack Ralph here, though, still being bothered from the drivers behind Duncan Roberts, and Marcus Hudson still very much on his tail. It looks to me like Hudson's dropping back a little bit, but Duncan Roberts trying to tuck the nose at the inside. Again, Ralph leaves plenty of room there. A real sportsmanship kind of gesture there from Jack Ralph. Leaves plenty of room for his competitors to have a little look, but nonetheless they haven't been able to get it done on this occasion. As we head down into La Source, Hudson now looks to the outside, and that is brilliant. Very, very cheeky maneuver there from Roberts. He's just tucked it up the inside. Ryan Annals gave plenty of room. I'm not sure if he got a little bit deep on the brakes there and went too wide. I think he didn't look like he tried to even remotely cover the inside line. But that now means that Duncan Roberts moves up to 8th position, Jack Ralph in 9th, and then we've got Hudson behind, still looking to see if he can make his way back through. But Jack Ralph now showing his 8th position as we go side by side down into Lecombe. Absolutely diving all over the place. These drivers trying to work out where the optimal place is for the exit, and Jack Ralph is back up into 8th position with Duncan Roberts in 9th, and Marcus Hudson having to settle for the last spot there in the top 10. But it's not over yet as we go for the rundown into Bruxelles. The inside, he tried to tuck it in, but he got shut off very, very quickly there by Duncan Roberts. This has been some fantastic racing here. 10 laps in of a 13-lap race here in the Belgian forest of Spa-Francorchamps, and it's been absolutely stunning to watch. In the meantime, I think we've also seen Sam Congreve get past Alex Hopkins. That fight also very much heating up ahead of these guys as we head through the middle sector of Spa now.
We do, and I think just want to give a huge shout out to Jack Ralph there for keeping his cool after being overtaken by almost 2 cars coming out of La Source. As oh, is that the race leader? That is Jerome Lamy spun.
Jerome's off at the bus stop chicane. I didn't see if he had any damage there in particular, but I think that what he has done is he's cut the last part, hasn't he? He's cut the last part of the track, hasn't he? And he's got a massive slowdown, I think. So this is going to be potentially. Is he crabbing? Is he trying to find a bit of room to slow down? I'm not sure, but that's put him down to second position. Who else is going to sneak by? Is Gavin Petty going to sneak by as well?
He's got a really nice run coming up. Upper Rouge and Radion now. It looked to me like Jerome was just struggling with the rear there. Like the rear his rear suspension wasn't straight. But Gavin Petty's got a mega run.
But look here, Gavin Petty, if you look at the back of that car, it looks fine to me. And I think even from the angle that we're seeing it here, the car looks fine. Car number 16, I think he had a slowdown penalty maybe that he just couldn't clear. I mean, we'll see what his pace is like over the remainder of the next lap or so. But he stays very close to the back of Petty here, right up to the rear wing. He does fancy his chances. And as we come down into Bruxelles, on the inside he goes, tucks it in, car number 16. He's taken P2 back from Gavin Petty. And now Jerome Lamy has only got a couple of laps to see if he can mount that charge back on Lee Aberdeen, who's 2.5 seconds ahead of him. But I'm sure Gavin Petty will think to himself, no, I still reckon I've got a chance at P2. The Jerome obviously a little bit shaken up by that incident. He's not quite on form after that, and it's very not much what we expected to see when he had that 6.2 second gap only a few laps ago.
It's such a disappointment for Jerome, and yeah, it does look like his car is okay, but Lee Aberdeen must be thinking, woohoo, thank you very much for that. I'm certainly happy, but we've seen Jerome be about a second a lap quicker during the race than Lee Aberdeen, so there is a chance that that Jerome could at least catch up to the back of Lee, but of course, with only 2 laps to go, the pressure's very high as we see even more racing at the moment, and I think that's in trying to work out where that is.
Just position to Roberts, so that's the battle for P8 and 9 that we've got there. So Duncan Roberts, who we watched a little bit earlier, trying to carve his way through the field. There was that 3-way battle that we were following just a few laps ago. Duncan Roberts now obviously realising the opportunity and saying, thank you very much, Mr. Ralph, but I think I'll sneak up the inside and take that position. The gap now sneaking to about half a second. Jerome Lamy, who you mentioned a minute ago, who we were obviously just following, the gap was, when he got back on track to Lee Aberdeen, was about 2.5 seconds. It's now less than 2 seconds. So there's absolutely every chance we'll see something towards the last portion of this race, but we're on lap 12 now, and as we go back over to Duncan Roberts here, Sam Congreve we're going to go over to in P5. He's up 12 positions, and with only another couple of laps to go, that's going to be one to defend because he's going to be really proud of that. Alex Hopkins is only 3/10 behind him as we head into Radion Eau Rouge up the hill now, and then onto the long straight down into Les Combes. I think that Alex Hopkins fancies his chances up the inside. He's going to push his luck here. They're going to go side by side, and I think that's going to be the move done on this occasion. Very sensible to just let it happen there from Sam Congreve. And with 2/10 between them, I'm sure there's going to be an opportunity for him to try and make the switchback and get that position back from Alex. So let's go back to that hill again. Roxy Gibson currently under a lot of pressure here from, I'm not sure who we're with, Chris Foskett behind. So Chris Foskett, Roxy Gibson has defended incredibly well this evening. We've seen not very much of Roxy, but from what I have seen on the replay cameras in the background that I have, is Roxy's put up an incredible defence against a lot of the cars that have come up behind her throughout the field. We've had people off all over the place, so faster cars mixing it up in the back of the grid, and it does make it very challenging sometimes for some of our newer drivers. So Roxy Gibson, great result so far, up 8 positions. And here we are now back with Alex Hopkins and Sam Congreve. They've been fighting it out for a couple of laps now, and 2/10 separate these two guys. I think Sam Congreve will fancy his chances around Blanchimont here because he's really close in to the rear wing of Alex Hopkins, and this could be the move that we're looking for. Obviously, if you do it here, the chances are you're going to get overtaken again on the exit of La Source, but let's see what happens between these guys. Sam Congreve taking the sensible move here. He's going to stay behind and see if he can make that move on the run up the hill, Seb.
He is. I think he's played a bit of a blinder there with letting Alex Hopkins go through. I think it's a little bit of a NASCAR race. If you're in the lead of a battle, I don't think you'll be in the lead of that battle on the when you cross the line for the final time. It's so crucial. The slipstream here is to make matters even worse for Alex. He's gone a little bit wide out of La Source, which will definitely hamper his exit. Although
Yeah.
Sam behind needs to be careful because if he catches too early on the straight, then all the advantage he'll lose is a very clean run from both of the drivers at the top of Radion going down the hill, and I can't wait to see who comes out ahead.
Well, they've crested the hill now, Seb, and it looks to me like Sam Congreve there, Alex Hopkins taking the inside line, breaking the toe, trying not to let that slipstream be an advantage, and that means that that's not really been useful to car number 12 behind. Sam Congreve has not been able to make up any time on Alex Hopkins at all there. But we're going to go up to the front of the order because we've got Lee Aberdeen now as we're on the final lap. Jerome Lamy, as we were mentioning earlier, was a couple of seconds back. He's now under a second, almost half a second behind Lee Aberdeen. And as we head into this last lap, it's really crucial that Lee doesn't put a foot wrong because Jerome will be all over the back of him. He is hungry for another win after having two already this season in the Dallara Formula 3 at Hockenheim and the Laguna Seca as well. So he wants to make it one more here at Spa, but I don't think it's going to happen for Jerome Lamy because Lee Aberdeen at the minute really showing his pace. There's 4 tenths between them as we all go on the run down into Blanchimont, and he's not close enough. I think this is really going to come down to that final chicane now, Seb. I don't think that Jerome's close enough. Lee Aberdeen puts the car right in the middle of the track, makes it as wide as possible. There's no way that Jerome gets round now unless Lee Aberdeen spins. And no, Lee maintains that P1 position. And as we come to the line, that is really neck and neck stuff. Lee Aberdeen P1, congratulations, sir. Take a bow. And Jerome Lamy there in P2, very much deserved after that incredible stint that he put out in the early part of the race. Here we come now with Ryan Annals in the last corner. That's a brilliant bit of manoeuvring from these midfield drivers. Really great stuff to see. And then Roxy Gibson up 8 positions, currently defending here against Stuart Milne. Stuart really putting the pressure on Roxy Gibson. Looks to the outside, to the right of Roxy. Really, this is going to be really daring stuff around the outside of Blanchimont. He can't quite get it done. Actually, no, they are going to be side by side as we go into the bus stop chicane. Roxy's going to be on the left-hand side round, and I think just letting it go on this occasion. Milne goes very wide, has to let it go. Roxy takes it easy, and with all that extra pace, goes around the outside, and that's Roxy that's got ahead of Milne over the line. That is fantastic stuff. Stuart pushed it just a little bit too hard there, and it did not pay off in the end. Roxy doesn't take the off track, takes the sensible line, and then ultimately comes out on top of that fight. That's brilliant stuff with Roxy Gibson finishing there in P16. So an awesome race there. A bit of some donuts in the background. Roxy's just piled it into the wall, and a bit of a chaotic celebration from our drivers this evening. Tyler Oldham in 21st here, the last one that's going to be coming over the line before we bring you up the results for this evening's race. Seb, that has been fantastic. We've had so much to look at throughout this evening. I mean, give me your best bits.
Oh, I think it's hard to choose. The battle for the lead at the very last lap, again coming down 24 tenths. Yeah, almost a repeat of Donington with it being so close. But I think the driver for me would be Sam Congreve, though. As you said, he's his debut race here, and to finish so high up the standings on his first race and being under all that pressure was such an amazing achievement for him. So very well done to him as we have a look at the race results.
Yep, so here we go. Your race results here this evening. So Lee Aberdeen comes in P1, followed by Jerome Lamy, and then we've got Gavin Petty in P3. Congratulations to our podium sitters this evening. Gregoire Gomez in P4, and then we've got Alex Hopkins behind in P5. Then we've got Sam Congreve, Ryan Annals, Duncan Roberts, Jack Ralph, Marcus Hudson, and Sam Hermer. Fraser Garrity's in 12th, and then we've got Edmund Webb, Nathan Willoughby, Chris Foskett, Roxy Gibson, Stuart Milne, and then Patrick Rowlands there in P18. So a brilliant roundup so far this evening. We've had a great bit of racing from our open wheelers here around Spa-Francorchamps. Almost as fun as Donington the week before. Now, before we leave you this evening, we do need to bring your attention to a couple of little announcements that we have for you. The first of which is a link that you'll find in the video description down below. And that video description down below takes you to the Inside iRacing UK podcast. So this is the only podcast that you're going to need to get all of your iRacing UK news, and recently they've released episode 4 where you can tune in to listen to hosts Mark Jennings and Calvin Dent as they talk to Sean Cranley-Swash and Tim Cox about how to get a race live from simulator to broadcasting, the story of TSS and Total Sim Sport, and very much the content that you are experiencing this evening. So tune in to listen to that. The other link that you'll find in the video description down below is the link to the GT3 Season 5 registration. So head over there. It's www.totalsimsport.tv/GT3. If you're already in the iRacing UK Discord, make sure that you head over to the channel in the Discord and get over there to register your interest. One of the admins will register you for the league, and all will be well. And maybe we'll see you here in one of these broadcasts in the future. If you're not part of the Discord, head over to www.facebook.com/iRacingUK. You can also hit up the team at IRUK_team on Twitter and Instagram. Okay, and then the final thing we're going to leave you with, just before we say some thank yous. We've also obviously recently had the race for Katie. Just want to say a very big thank you to everybody that donated to the cause. It was a great night of racing that we had last week in the GT3s, and very much enjoyed by all, and a lot of money raised by the community. So thank you very much to everybody that got involved in that. Now, it's a big thank you from Chris, Seb, and I from the commentary booth. And we're now going to leave you with a message from one of our sponsors.
Kind of just throw the keys in the bowl and go for it. So that's it.